Okay, thank you so much for meeting with me, Katie. Katie, can I call you Katie?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Great. It's a delight to meet you, and I know Jarrett from our club. Jarrett Cooper is the one who connected us initially, and he may join on. He has the information, but
Okay, great.
so what I wanted to meet today for was to find out about the different services that you provide. Tell me about your organization, and that way we can kind of see how we can collaborate, see if there's any way that we can help. And I'm also interested in the mentorship program that I read about online.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, so Operation Second Chance has started, it started back in 2004. And OSC was founded by my boss, Cindy McGrew, who basically wanted to make a change. She knew something needed to happen for our post 9/11 combat veterans who were coming back severely injured. And as sad as it is, they didn't have a support group. They didn't have family members who were able to visit them at Walter Reed. So she started OSC with very grassroots methods and and techniques. And we're really proud to say that we've remained that way still to this day. And whereas the money that does come into OSC really does go directly back to the veteran and their family. So OSC is known for emergency financial assistance, and we do work primarily with our post 9/11 combat veterans. So ill, injured, wounded, we really do what we can to support them and support their family members, and especially their caregivers. So what we can do for them when they're in, kind of dire need, we do pay for their mortgage. So if they're falling back on their mortgages, we will assist them with the mortgage. And what we do is we will pay their mortgage and send it directly to the lender. And we have about a 24-hour turnaround time for that. So we want to make sure that gets to the lender immediately and they have a roof over their head. If they're having a tough time with rent, we will do the same thing. Now, there is criteria for the veteran to be able to receive help from Operation Second Chance, and they have to have a 70% or higher disability rating, and they have to have their letter from the VA, and they have to have their DD 214, which all veterans know very well what all of that means and are very familiar with that information. So along with the emergency financial assistance, OSC has always had a side of the organization for morale. So morale being retreats, outings, meetups, any event that is local to them that, if they are interested in, we make sure they get to go to. Like, for instance, this is a perfect example over the holidays. Oh my goodness, the Christmas event that happens down at the Nats Stadium, they do that whole big Christmas display. And so veterans found out about that who lived in the area, and we sent them and their family to that. And we do the same thing for families in California and Missouri and Florida and everywhere. So we are completely nationwide. So we are not just exclusive to the East Coast or the Mid-Atlantic. We are all over the country. And we will fly veterans in with their families and pay for their flights, pay for their rental car, pay for their hotel. We honestly don't want them to pay for anything, and especially when they're coming up to Walter Reed. Thank goodness we don't have as many injured veterans coming in from overseas. However, we still have very many injured veterans who need to go to doctor's appointments, and sometimes those doctor's appointments have to be held at Walter Reed when they live in Tennessee. So when we find out about that, we will do that, and we will get them up here. We will pay for everything, and we'll even see if their caregiver can assist with that. Sometimes they're lucky enough to have a spouse who's able to come with them, and we will cover that as well for the spouse. Now, a really exciting part of Operation Second Chance is that a year ago, we had the grand opening for Heroes Ridge at Raven Rock, which is our very own retreat center. So it is our retreat center for veterans, their families, caregivers, spouses. We've done Gold Star moms. We're about to do a big one for Gold Star wives. And we do veteran only retreats as well. So we can do veteran only, men and women, and just women. We really kind of do cover it all. And then we also are opening it up to first responders. So we have hosted 6 firefighters from Florida. And now we have 2 more events coming up actually for the entire Frederick County Firefighter Association. So that's exciting. And a lot of them are veterans. So it really kind of comes together. OSC is by donation only. We are very proud of our accolades. We are one of the top charities to vote for in the state of Maryland. We have always been number 10 in running with the top veteran associations and organizations in the country. We have a very low overhead. There's really only about 4 of us on payroll. And, we're right up there with the Gary Sinise Foundation. And we're very proud of that. And we don't spend money on commercials or marketing. We really, really want to make sure that the donations that come in go to the veterans. And then going back to Heroes Ridge, also same thing, no cost at all. It is completely free for them. So we do retreats Thursday to Sunday. So we will fly them up and then fly them home. And while they're there, they don't need to spend a dime. So we make sure that they are really, really well taken care of. We want them to have a 5-star experience from start to finish. And it's beautiful up there. It is absolutely beautiful. It's on 275 acres. It's in Sibyllsville, Maryland. So it's not that far from here. Not a horrible commute.
How do you go there? Do you go by, you like rent a bus or something?
No, so we rent cars for them, or we have a big SUV up at the ridge. So if they're flying into like Dallas or DCA, I'll go pick them up. Yeah, and so we are looking into a bus though. That is on our list, one of those Sprinter vans. That would come in very handy. And so what if they drive there? So if we have like local veterans that are coming in from Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, and they drive, we'll pay for their gas because we really don't want them to pay for anything. We have 4 cabins at the ridge. They're newly renovated. So with COVID, we were only doing 1 veteran, 1 family per cabin. But now we're opening it up. So if with our like veteran only, say, retreats, and if they're coming with a friend or a buddy or like a battle buddy, we'll have them stay in the same cabin, but they don't have to share a room. So, it's just basically they're under the same roof. They're very spacious. So there's still, space to move around, and they don't feel claustrophobic, and they each have their own bedrooms. And so it just has worked out so well with having the Ridge and having the retreat center and being able to have them just, go there, and then we just spoil them rotten. We have fun activities that we do. Sometimes we go into Gettysburg. We have horses, so they're able to ride the horses, which is very therapeutic. Excuse me, I cannot talk today. Therapeutic in itself. Mm-hmm. And over the winter, we did ski retreats. So they come in, whether they had never been skiing before or if they were, experienced. We paid for them to go skiing, and it's really fun when you get to see them out there with their families, because as you know, skiing is very pricey. It's an expensive hobby. And I have many of them say, we would never be able to do this if it weren't for Operation Second Chance. So that really, right there is, we do it because they deserve it so much and so much more. So we are always trying to think of really just fun activities, events, things to do up at the Ridge. We know that they probably wouldn't do on a daily basis. So yeah, it's very rewarding, very fulfilling. And
I think distance-wise, how far is it for Heroes Ridge from, like, let's say
DC.
Rockville, Gaithersburg, yeah, or
Okay,
DC?
so I live in Darnestown. So I would say that it takes me without any traffic on 270, probably an hour, like a solid hour. So it's not bad. So we could give you guys a tour, it'd be something where we could get a group from the Rotary and we could give you a tour so you could see it. And the drive is really not that bad. I mean, once you get, so you do, 270 to 15, get off the 15, it is beautiful. You're just on these back mountain, for Maryland, back roads. And then all of a sudden it's like you're in this gorgeous farmland. And the first time I ever went to the Ridge, I was like, where am I going? Where am I? And then you get there and it takes your breath away. It is so stunningly beautiful and the views are incredible. And the reason that we named it Heroes Ridge is because there's an actual ridge where we have our big, huge fire pit. So they love sitting around that, and veterans get to bond and talk and families get to hang out, do s'mores, but the view from the ridge is just stunning.
Yeah.
Absolutely stunning. I mean, you have Gettysburg over one way. We're on Site R, which is the underground Pentagon. So we have that going on, and then just this beautiful, beautiful view. And I think, I know for myself, but when we get our veterans and their families up there, it's like all of a sudden they breathe a little deeper, they find peace, and they can forget about all the daily stressors that they deal with, every day. And it's really a magical place. So we're very proud of that. And in the meantime, we're still doing all of our emergency financial assistance as well.
I see. And how many veterans do you support?
Well, hundreds and hundreds.
In the hundreds?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think now to date, we've done almost 4 million in emergency financial assistance. To date for Heroes Ridge, we opened on May 1st of last year. And I think we've had over now close to 200 veterans and their families and volunteers up at the Ridge. We get a lot of Boy Scouts that come up and they have projects that they want to complete at the Ridge. And it's wonderful. We have a really good volunteer group that comes up from the Lions Club in Thurmont. And it's so nice because so many people want to help.
Right.
And volunteer their time. So we've been really fortunate with that.
And what is the age group of many of the vets who are
veterans? Well, they're all post 9/11 who attend the retreats. So they're all post 9/11 veterans. So we usually don't get any veterans who are, I would say, over 60. I think the oldest veteran that we've had to date was maybe 62. But for the most part, they're a bit younger just due to the fact that they were all post 9/11. Yeah. So I've had questions about us doing retreats for Vietnam veterans. And as much as we would love to, because I know they actually still need help as well, and need, that escape. We unfortunately just right now are dealing with the post 9/11 veterans. Maybe someday though. I mean, we would love to. Cindy, my boss, it's really hard for her to turn away Vietnam veterans because 2 of her 3 brothers were in Vietnam and one passed away because of PTS from Vietnam. So we do a lot for our PTS veterans. And for the most part, that's the majority of our veterans who are coming to the Ridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot have TBI, and it's.
What kind of stuff do you do specifically for PTSD, post-traumatic?
Well, so we're really aware of everything. Obviously, we know everything kind of about our attendees or our veterans. And so the horseback riding has really taken off with us. And that has become one of our main kind of therapy programs that we do at the Ridge. We do have a couple therapy dogs at the Ridge who they just know. It's like the veteran walks in and the dog literally will just go straight to the veteran who the dogs just know. It's absolutely incredible. And will not leave that veteran's side, and the veteran will pet that dog all weekend. And, it's a really cool connection. They love, when their spouses are with them, we do lots of fun, like couple things for them, a lot of painting. They love to do that with their spouses, and then they get to take their painting home. And we try to do a lot of outdoorsy type activities that we find that just being outside and being in nature really takes their minds off of everything. We have 2-seater ATVs because the property is literally just surrounded by trails. So once they've signed a waiver and they have a helmet, they're free to go on their own on the trails. And they love that. They enjoy that so much, just kind of getting to be free. And it's just, like I said, it's so beautiful up there too. So it's really great. And then we have all these meadows. So with picnic tables, they could take picnic baskets up there if they wanted to, but they can sit down, they can have a moment, take in the view, or just relax, talk, and so I would say as of right now, the horse program, our equine program, is the most popular, and that's the biggest one. And that's the one that everyone wants to do. Everyone wants to ride the horses, be around the horses, groom the horses. So we made sure to incorporate that now in all of our retreats, especially for the kids too. I mean, you have to remember the children of some of the veterans have a tough time too. And, they're, especially if mom or dad are going through a really hard time, with PTS and especially if they're physically injured, the children, they see that and are exposed to that. And so we try to do so many things for the kids too, just really fun, little activities. And it's funny too. Everyone wants to go to Gettysburg. I mean, yes, we're very close to Gettysburg, but they love it. They love like learning the history. So I had a storyteller come in for our veteran only retreat 2 weeks ago. And he asked me, well, what are the branches of the veterans that you have, attending this retreat? So I told him we had 2 Marines, Navy, and 2 Army. And so he looked up each branch of the military for when the Civil War was going on. And he found these stories of these individual soldiers and servicemen and women who were in the Civil War. And he came up and told these stories, and they were fascinated. Like one of my Marines was like, wait, the Marines were around in the Civil War, and like, they didn't even know. It was just, It was cool. So, we do things like that. But I have to be honest with you, like they love to just sit around the fire in the evening and talk because they're surrounded by fellow veterans who have been through what they've been through. It's a judgment-free zone, and they can actually talk about what they've been through, because many of them don't. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to open up about it. But when they're around other veterans, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we kind of just step away. If they need anything, we tell them to let us know. But really, I mean, they love that. And they don't like to be overscheduled. they like to be able, yes, we'll do something here. Like, for instance, I have Gold Star Moms coming up this Thursday. I'm taking them out to this beautiful farm on Friday for a private lunch in the barn, things like that.
Mhm.
On Saturday, I have a mobile spa coming to the Ridge and going to
Great.
hamper and spoil them rotten all day long. Things like that. We
Yeah.
try to do. And we have a partnership with the Orvis Hill Country that is up there, and they're wonderful, wonderful people, and they are very supportive of the veteran community. And they have the veterans go there and they shoot there, and so it's like a
Oh,
really
it's a
fancy
range?
shooting range,
Okay.
and it's beautiful grounds. I mean, so beautiful. So we'll send our veterans there because they still like to do that kind of stuff. They like to shoot and do archery. So we're hoping that actually that's one thing we're working on right now is an archery course. I guess that's what you would call it. Adapted archery. So our wounded veterans would be able to participate as well. So like all of our amputees would be able to do it as well. And the Ridge is ADA compliant. So we have 2 cabins that are completely 100% ADA compliant. So for all of our amputee veterans that come, they're able to, be very comfortable. And we have these special track chairs, which are like off-roading wheelchairs, basically. So that way they can use those. Because I mean, you're kind of nature up there, and we have gravel driveways and to get back from the cabin to the dining halls, gravel, so they can use these track chairs and get there just as well as the next person. So, and then, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So what else? Oh, I was just going to say something else. Oh, and then the other thing we're working on right now, because we do want to try to make sure that we have as much adaptive sport equipment as we do just for non-ADA stuff. So we are hoping that we get an adaptive pickleball court. And so do you know what pickleball is?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we're hoping that is maybe one of our next projects that we do. So put it somewhere.
Installed in the.
So basically it would go on our basketball court.
Okay.
That's something that's on our wish list right now, because it would be great. It's easy for our amputees, to be able in their wheelchair and do that. And then also for our non-amputees, but things like that. We have an organization that's coming up in the beginning of June, and they're doing a garden for us. So they're doing like a full vegetable garden. We did have one, however, the groundhog made complete mess of that. So unfortunately, our garden kind of failed. So yeah, so we have things like that. I'm trying to think. We have a landscape architect who just came up, and he's donating some of his time and some of his services we wanted to do some gardens around the cabins and around the dining hall and the rec hall. And so, it's just amazing. People get up there and they will look at Cindy or myself and they say, what can we do? What can we do? Just, tell us what do you need? Because they want to be a part of it. It's really, really special.
When is your next veterans only retreat?
So we just had our, let's see, we just had one. We have another one. We have a women's only. Let me just pull up the calendar really quick. So our next veterans only retreat, I want to say, let me just look. We have, let's see. I can get back to you. We have a lot of families coming up, just because with with summer.
I'd like to do a veterans only retreat along with the veterans who are in our club and veterans who are Rotarian veterans essentially.
Yeah, okay.
And I think that we could have um, do stuff like partner in terms of or even have discussions about mentorship, resilience, that kind of stuff, networking to whoever is attending can, have our contact information. If they just need to talk or just need to, do that kind of stuff, we can
Sure.
be there for them. I love the idea. So there's a retired brigadier general who is the president of Holy Cross Hospital here,
Oh, okay.
who's like a friend and a mentor to me. And we were talking about having a retreat and he owns horses. And so
Oh, okay.
he was telling me about therapeutic effect of horses. And so I've heard
Yeah,
this before. One of our Marines out in Baltimore has a therapy dog. And so he was telling me about the benefits of that. And so, um, I think that we could have a nice retreat. If you don't have one scheduled, perhaps we could, start something. And I'd like to have it where, not only is the time there relaxing for the veterans, but also a bridge to kind of be in connection with afterwards. And if you have, like the mentorship program I'm kind of thinking of is really just linking up one to one and if they don't jive or whatever, because humans are humans and we all connect with different people differently, we can always find someone else for them to connect with,
hmm,
ideally in a field of profession that they have in common, but or it could be the branch of service, but I'd be open to that, but or the logistics of that. But this is
sure,
kind of
sure.
what I had in mind. I was thinking, we could even do some mindfulness kind of talk,
Hmm.
therapy, and um, I'm not officially certified in that, but I researched it extensively, and it's something that we could. If we can get a counselor, well and great. Otherwise, I'd be happy to do it myself. I've undergone it and studied it enough. Um, but these are the kinds of things I was thinking. What um and we have through our Rotary opportunities where we can apply for like a district grant in support of certain events. And I think this would be a great one to put forth.
Yeah,
Um, and what where are the costs involved? I know that you guys cover the costs, but in terms of where we can help and where we can put forth on a grant application, because it'll ask on there, what exactly do you need the funds for? Um, so the horseback riding, the stay there, what are some clear things
yeah.
that
So we have our own horses. So we have two horses right now, and then um
we as an Operation Second Chance?
operate. Yes, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and we actually in for the ridge, we are going to get two more horses. We're just finishing up the new pasture for them, so we'll have four horses at the ridge that will be there permanently. And
Mhm.
then we have a very good friend, a gentleman that I've been working with for a while now. Sorry, I have a sneeze. Excuse me. And so he and I have been working on a program called Cowboy Clinic, and we've carried it on now over to the Ridge. So that's the program that they do when they're horseback riding. It's called Cowboy Clinic, and so basically, we're teaching them very, very simple, easy skills about horsemanship when they first, when the program first begins. They're just walking around the horse, petting the horse. The horse kind of picks the veteran. Horses also are so in tune to feelings and emotions. And, we make sure that the rider and the horse jive and that, everything kind of works. And then we'll get them on the horse and then we'll slowly start walking around. And meanwhile, Greg is telling them, you know, this and this and this. So it's a real interesting learning experience for them. And then I'm not kidding you, by the end of the day, they have now learned how to rope. So we have like real cowboy ropes that we give them.
Mhm.
And they get to practice roping, and they all are comfortable in the saddle. You know, we've had veterans that are like, no way, I'm not getting on a horse. Absolutely not. Like, horses scare me. And we're like, okay, just come stand over here and hold this brush and just brush the horse. And then you'll see the veteran, he's brushing the horse and he's brushing it more and getting super into it. And then we have a therapy donkey, and we let the therapy donkey kind of walk around the veterans. And the therapy, it's a miniature donkey. And the miniature donkey will, his name is Hector. Hector will go, like, he also knows, and he'll go over to the veteran who's brushing the horse, and he'll be like, hey, what about me? And then all of a sudden you see the veteran kind of like, okay, maybe I do want to get on the horse. And
Yeah.
so sure enough, that veteran ends up being the one who, like, we can't get off the horse at the end of the day. We're like, no, really, you have to go eat dinner now. Come on.
Right.
And we end the clinic with a 2-hour trail ride. So it's a really, really awesome day for them. They ride all day. And I love it when I hear from other veterans who I've become friends with, who have either their own organization or they've just been through a lot of retreats themselves. And they're like, it's amazing that they get to ride the horses. I had one veteran said, I went a weekend away to this like equine therapy retreat where I thought I was just going to be riding a horse the whole time. And I never even got on the horse. And, you know, it's all about
Being
just
around.
being around the horse, which is so special and
Yeah.
so healing. And definitely I support that. But he's like, the fact that they actually get to ride the horse, that's awesome. And so,
Mhm.
you know, that's cool. But as far as the money goes, I mean, so we're always looking for other programs, right? We're always looking for, okay, what else can we do? And what are some, you know, therapy-based programs that we do? Well, I'm going to be really honest with you. I would say probably the horseback riding,
Mhm.
and I mean, just being out in nature and having them go. And we have Warrior Path, which they're coming up to use Heroes Ridge for their therapy. They're like, this is hardcore therapy. This is where a veteran comes and they are there for 7 days, and it's from morning to night, and it's different types of therapy. They're either doing a songwriting session or they're, you know, with
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
therapist and doing that. And while they're there, they're making a labyrinth, which is, you know, everyone starts and you have to figure out the path to get back to the middle together. So we'll have that after Warrior Path is at the Ridge. So we'll be able to utilize that after they leave. But that's a good like team building kind of exercise. And we'll be able to do it with our couples and our families. You know, and really anything we can do to have the families just be together and bond. It's so important. It is so
Right.
important.
I agree.
And a lot of the times they like being there with their spouse. Like, we have so many veteran only retreats that the veterans are like, can we come back here with our wives? Can we please bring our wives back? You know, so we always make sure that they're invited back for a couples retreat or a family retreat. So, you know, those are all still works in progress for sure. Like, we're only going to just keep growing and building with our programs.
Right.
Um,
Do you have
but
internet access?
sorry,
Do you have internet access there?
we do. It's very minimal. We don't want them on their screens the whole time. So we have hotspots in
No,
the,
I was
in
thinking if we did like a session with the vets, then we could have the spouses kind of join in by Zoom.
Mhm.
Why?
Oh, they would love that. Yeah, they would love that. A lot of so it's particularly with our wives, they worry about their
Yeah,
husbands
exactly.
a lot. And they worry about them when they're away from them. Because you have to remember, the wives are their caregivers. They do everything for their veterans. And yeah, so I have a few wives that will say, we know they're in good hands with OSC, but it does worry us a little bit. Like, especially some have a hard time, you know, navigating by themselves to get on a plane. And then just even something like that, you know, because they could get confused or their anxiety level can skyrocket. And then, so we try to make it as easy as possible. If they're flying from Orlando, they land directly in DC and no pit stops along the way. So that seems to be, we've learned as little layovers as possible is the best. So, but money, I mean, so that's the thing. I mean, we can always use funding because we only, we never have done anything federal, like through the federal government. We're primarily private donations. People will leave us in their wills. That's how we were able to get Heroes Ridge. In fact, a very, very generous woman left us in her will for her estate. And when she passed away, we were able to sell her estate and then purchase Heroes Ridge.
Right.
Yeah, we just have been so blessed by very, very generous donors. But as far as the funding goes, I mean, it can always go towards anything adaptive. We're always looking to have more adaptive equipment or adaptive, just kind of like more of the adaptive sport equipment, really, because it's so beautiful up there during the spring and the summer. Everyone wants to just be outside.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of challenging for some of our veterans who are in wheelchairs, because not all, like, we have a little bit of a slope, so they need assistance through some things if they're not on riding the track chair. And so I would say, we have a very long list of projects that are, kind of our, I guess you would say, like, our top 5 projects that we definitely are keeping our fingers crossed that happens soon. I would say our next biggest is we're getting a covered arena. So right now we just have an outdoor arena, and now we're going to be getting a covered arena. So we'll be able to horseback ride all year round. And so that's huge. So we're breaking ground on that soon. But I would love just, if we could figure out a day for you guys to come up, because I feel like I could sit here and go on and on and on, but for you to actually get up there and see it, you'll see it for yourself. And then I think you would just have a better understanding of, like, okay, wow, now I get it. And this is what we want to do. Or, and we can talk about doing a retreat, or we can talk about having the Rotary up for a day and have lunch and, hang out and walk the grounds and see what it really feels like to be there, to spend time there. And that might give you a better sense of just, what you think the Rotary could do for Operation Second Chance.
Right.
Yeah. But I love the idea of the mentor retreat. I mean, that's something we haven't quite done yet. But I'm very open to that.
Yeah. Because one thing with the Rotary is that it's a group of professionals, and they're often usually the heads of companies, or they've got their own company, or they are in leadership positions where they can really give some sound advice, if nothing else, to newcomers. So often in this stage of my life, I'm like, oh, I wish I was told that, like, back when I was training, or back when I was looking for a job, those kind of things. Even reviewing their CV would be a good, I think that would be helpful for them, just kind of going through how to do an interview process. Those are all things that our club can really offer, because I know all the members, and so I know that they'd be qualified in giving such sound advice, and it'd be truly helpful for them in the long term. So yeah, let's stay in communication, and definitely I'd like to
you just let me know if you want to talk, to the Rotary and see if they'd be interested coming up. We could, host lunch for you guys, and you come up and get a feel for it. And just, I think it's always better being able to see what you're trying to sell. See, that way they can see it, they know it. Oh, yes, this is what I want to support. And yes, I want to be a part of this. And you guys can meet Cindy and just see how amazing and wonderful she is. And I mean, this is all her. All of our accolades and awards and everything are because of Cindy. I mean, she has done this with her own two hands.
Wow.
I'm just her, her assistant basically. And I do run all the retreats. So I basically,
When is your next one, Katie? Your next
we start Thursday.
Oh, this Thursday.
Yeah, we have a Gold Star Moms coming up.
And when do you have one after? Because if we did one, I wonder it would be nice to just stop by during one of the retreats and just see it and leave, or is that
so? Unfortunately, we don't allow that.
Okay.
Yeah, only because this is like their private time. And
Sure.
I mean, if you wanted to come up to volunteer, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
But we really can't have outside group just because some of them are already, just
Sure. Understandable.
It's a tough, that's a tough one. But regardless, I mean, I could walk you through literally everything that we do during retreat, and you get to see all the cabins. I mean, you would get an actual tour of everything.
Sure.
And then be there. But yeah, let me know. Just let me know and we can look at the calendar and come up with something.
Excellent. How many can stay overnight in this?
So depending on so if it's families, we have 4 families, 4 couples. But if it's just veterans and they're comfortable with staying with someone else, or if they know the other person, we can do 2 per cabin. So 8.
8. Okay.
Yes.
8 total.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we like to keep them small so that it's a bit more intimate.
I see.
But with families, it's a total different, because some families have 5, 6 kids. So, that gets the number up there kind of a little higher.
I see.
Yeah. And then obviously with the couples, they're just staying in their own cabin.
Right. Okay.
But the cabins they're beautiful and they're big. I mean, so the thing is, for one cabin, it's larger. So we could actually fit more people there. It's just their comfort level. If they're okay sharing a bathroom basically with somebody, then we can pack them in there. And now with COVID not being,
right,
as
okay,
a concern, we can get more in there because we have the beds. It's just they would have to share a bathroom.
I see.
But like I said, you could come up, see them for yourself, see what you think, and see how you would want to do that. And then we would go from there.
Okay, that sounds great. Let me get back to you. And I really like the idea of doing, as I said, I already had it in mind to do a retreat, but if you already have a location and everything set in place that you're already doing this, I think our services would be better utilized if we partner with you and just help you guys enrich whatever you're already doing. Right. And there's some unique aspects that we can bring as Rotarians, experienced professionals. And so I think, let's.
Okay, good. I love it.
So my mind is, there's so many things, so many possibilities. That's why
I know. Now, welcome to my world. That's how I feel. I mean, when I'm planning all the retreats, I'm like, we could do this, we could do that.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyways, all right. Well, thank you for reaching out. I'm glad we were able to connect.
Sure. All right. You take care. Thank you.
We'll be in touch. Thanks.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.